Senator Husakos. Thank you very much.
In early January, you said you needed evidence to build a case with your cabinet colleagues about the negative impact of the carbon tax on our farmers. You said that you were more than willing to advocate once you had more evidence of the impact that the carbon tax would have on farms and on farmers. Last week, thanks to Blacklocks, we found out that you had the evidence in front of you, but you aren't willing to share that information with Canadians. You told your colleagues in the House of Commons that that information, and I quote, is secret. Minister, did you ever intend to provide an exemption for farmers who are being unfairly burdened by this terrible carbon tax? Or was this just a strategy by yourself to buy some time, because this isn't really about helping Canadians as much as it is a PR strategy aimed at securing votes?
Thank you, Senator. No, I've always been very candid and genuine with our farmers, and I was hearing very different figures from different stakeholders, from the department, from, and the figures were significantly different. And this is why last December, when we host our federal, provincial, territorial, agricultural ministers meeting, I said to my colleague, give me the evidence, help me build a case, and I will advocate for you if there's a significant impact on them, because that we have already exempted farm fuels and fuels from cardlock facilities, and we have given a partial rebate for propane and natural gas used on commercial greenhouses. So I was genuinely open to make the deal. But I'll tell you the figures that came out at the end. And just to say that the report you were referring to is public. There was some numbers who were confidential because there was a matter of budget confidentiality. But the report is available, and if you want, I can share it with you. But so to put these estimates in context, Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada used data from the Agricultural Tax Data Program to show the impacts on a per farm basis as a percentage of total operating costs. The estimates ranged from $210 to $819 per farm, and 0.05% to 0.42% of total farm operating expenses.
Madame la Ministre, chaque fois que votre gouvernement...
Madam Minister, each time your government makes a funding announcement during this pandemic, you give us little or no details. Is that because you're not trying to improve fortunes for our Canadians so much as improving your ability to attract more votes? Answer, no, Senator, I assure you. And I believe producers with whom I have the opportunity, and they are numerous, working with personally, can tell you about my authenticity and my honesty and my integrity.
Announced no plans to table a budget in the near future or even provide a financial update. Is that because you don't want Canadians to know how deep the hole we have dug for ourselves is? And don't you think that it is prudent and necessary that the government in a short order does provide a financial statement to Parliament?
Je crois qu'on fait preuve d'une grande ouverture.
I think we're showing great openness and great transparency as we deploy our measures and our financial commitments are announced and implemented. We've had 7 question periods over 3 days virtually as well as in person. So I am completely confident that the Minister of Finance and the Prime Minister will submit a budget or a budgetary report at the opportune time.
Hardly been sitting, and the government has hardly been transparent. And we know that the deep hole, the financial deep hole that this pandemic has dug for us is going to make it very, very, very difficult, and might even be much more difficult to deal with in the pandemic itself. So I've ran out of time, Minister, but thank you for your answers.